Guys, I'll wait for a few people to get in. I hope everybody's doing well. We've got like breaking news on 2 cases right now, and one of them is Maddie Soto, and you guys know Stefan Stearns. He was the stepfather that ended up getting arrested 2 days. She disappeared the same day as Sebastian. She was found on March 1st, but on February 28th, Stefan Stearns was arrested because there was things found on his phone. Well, apparently there have been some court documents that have been released to the public, and those court records are a little alarming, to say the least. The one thing that I heard, I have not read the reports yet, personally, but from the news broadcast, Stefan basically said he dropped her off. Apparently his car data said he was someplace different. I still don't see, the manner of which she lost her life. And I'm unsure of anything other than, at this moment, remember that statement her grandmother made about how she was scared to sleep alone? She was fearful to sleep alone. Well, in these court documents, this is the shocker. And I'm not going to, this is kind of where I think, mom's going to have some problems. When mom was asked, whether they all slept in the room together, and maybe it was Stefan, if they all slept in the room together, he said yes, that it would either be it'd be him and her, all 3, or mom and her, that they would sleep in the bed, that she was very fearful to sleep alone. And now, of course, knowing everything that we now know, obviously that's very problematic for me. I don't know, I understand. It's hard because I remember sleeping in between my parents. I think everybody has slept with their parents and stuff like that. And Stefan has been in this child's life for a very, very long time. I still find it slightly inappropriate for a stepfather. I'm trying to be reasonable, but it's just hard to wrap my mind around it. Even with just this day and age, it's just with so much awareness about things. It's almost infuriating. It's almost infuriating. So guys, we have been talking now for a little while about, certain aspects of the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian Rogers is the 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and he has not been seen or heard from since, according to his mom. We know he hasn't been heard from since, according to law enforcement. There has been no credible sightings of Sebastian Rogers at all. And there were key things that we've been talking about that we think are notable and noteworthy. And one of those things is the whole camper. We heard that the next day Chris went and got the camper, and I don't know if the next day is quite accurate. But I did get the whole thing downloaded. I wanted you guys to hear it for yourself, because it has been a spot of contention. So for those that are coming in or new to the case or wondering what in the world, what camper am I talking about? So Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather to Sebastian Rogers, was working. He's a tower crane operator, and he works out of town. So he's been working on a project at St. Jude's in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, he has a fifth wheel that he takes with him, I guess, on these type of projects, where he can stay at a local campground and live comfortably there in his fifth wheel. So he was staying in a fifth wheel at times, and according to Katie, he wouldn't be coming back every single weekend. He only came back, when he could, because some weekends he would actually, work the weekend. So this camper really wasn't an issue until we realized that in the middle of, searching for Sebastian, Chris decides to take off to go pick up his camper. And I said there's something key with that camper. At the beginning, when we were going through theories and we had a little limited information, then we didn't know, somebody saying, who cares? Because we're looking for a 15-year-old boy that hasn't been missing, or that has been missing. So I would presume that the people in here learning about this case care. I would presume that his parents care. I would ask, why are you here if you don't care? Just saying. Just saying. But anyways, I keep saying the camper wasn't an issue until Chris made it an issue, because Chris literally stopped what he was doing in the middle of a search for a 15-year-old boy that disappeared from their home and left. But the camper's only 3.5 hours away. And so I'm thinking that he left in the morning and got back in the afternoon. I literally had no earthly idea that he stayed the night during search efforts for a missing 15-year-old medically needy boy. That to me is a little bizarre. For the longest time, I thought it was the very next day. I don't know if that's the case, because I've listened to it over and over and over again. See, my problem is that this is on Smiley's World, and after I did watch this interview live when it was going on, but I could never, I can't remember. When I went back to look for it, somehow I just never really could find it. I don't know why. And I remember Smiley tagged me in it once. And so I was looking for it again tonight. And I could not find it for the life of me. I think I spent like a half hour going through her channel, going through her channel, trying to find, this is Smiley's World. Trying to find I couldn't find it, so I finally had to text her. I'm like, can I have the link for that? She texted it right back to me. I mean, she must have she must have the Rolodex like ready. I don't know. It was neat. It was lickety split too. And so I was going through it because people in here were telling me that he said 17 hours to go pick up his camper. So I'm like, there's no way. There's no way he left the next day 17 hours to go pick up a camper. That's like a huge red flag. That's like glaring lights, sirens, and everything else. Who got out of Dodge? Chris did. Right? So and he kept saying we in this, and then he clarifies he was the only one that went down there. And he says he has to pack up a camper. Guys, we've seen this camper before. I mean, I don't understand how it took them so flippin' long to literally go 3.5 hours away for a fifth wheel, and then it took them, what? Hold on a second. There it goes. That right there. Took them 17 hours to pack up. 17 hours. Does that sound right? I mean, it's only 7 hours. It took him 10 hours? There is no way. What was the need to stay overnight? Exactly. I still haven't clarified when he left and when he returned yet. And I now, because I thought it was the next day, and now based on what I heard, I don't think it was the next day. Let's listen. We'll listen to it together. But I don't think he said the next day. When he said the next day, it was when he said that he slept in the camper and got up the next day. But if it takes 3.5 hours to get there, that's what he says, 3.5 hours. Okay, so maybe a little over 3.5 hours, because I've done the maps enough that I know. I think he says it's 3 hours and 38 minutes from doorstep to doorstep, I think is the way he said it, or doorstep to work. I can't remember. But either way, it's 3 hours 30 something. It's like 3 hours and 40 minutes from his house to the RV, I believe, the fifth wheel here, the camper. I call it a camper. He says it's a fifth wheel. He's really anal about wanting to call it a fifth wheel. I don't understand what difference does it make, but apparently it makes a difference. Just saying. Oh, that's right. Sorry, guys. I did have it up, but what had happened is the breaking news came in. Is this set where I need it to be set? No, it's not. Okay. I'm going to turn the volume up. Let me know if you guys have a hard time hearing this, okay? I'm going to turn the speaker towards you guys. Actually, let's put Sebastian up behind us. I don't like doing this without having... if we're going to be here and it's going to be about him, I want to show his face.
He doesn't at the same time because it's so loud and clanky.
And so they use a lot of the teriyaki style sauce.
Yeah.
When we get his, we kind of have to ask, like, hey, can y'all scoot some over? He doesn't like condiments that much. He really doesn't.
Yeah. Chris, what time did you get home on Monday? Do you remember?
Here it is.
I want to say it was, well, hold on, let's see here. 1 something.
So we know he got home a little after 1 when this was the February 26th. So what he's talking about right here is when he got notified. Now remember, he was on the phone with his wife when they called law enforcement. So he knows his stepson's missing, and he doesn't get immediately off the crane and come home. He has the cavalry at the front door, and he didn't even, from my understanding and from a person from his job, if true, I haven't corroborated it. I have to say if true if I haven't corroborated it, because I don't know who has and whatnot. But if true, we have a worker there, I think it's somebody that's over him, that said that they had to kick him off the job because of his poor attitude. His bad attitude that day, not because his son was missing. And I'm like, that it just, there's something with this whole morning and Chris and his behavior.
Want something, I think?
Yeah. And then did you have to go back up there and get your camper? I mean, is that what y'all had to go back and get that? Somebody had to drive it back? Or?
No. It's a fifth wheel. It's a fifth wheel.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I couldn't tell. Somebody was just...
No.
Is a fifth wheel supposed to be more bougie or something? Like, he's like, and there's one point in this interview, something about something else, and he's like, if I got to go all in, I go all in. It's like, like, really?
So there's a couple things that, because of this whole situation, I hope families never endure.
Right.
Without going into great details, I almost lost my job.
Because you had a bad attitude. I mean, who loses? I just want to ask you this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop it again. And if I have to rewind it and replay it, we'll rewind it and replay it. But can I point the obvious out here? Who the hell wants to work for a company that as soon as you tell them you got a missing son, they want to fire you? Nobody. The PR nightmare, especially working on a children's hospital? I don't believe it. I don't believe it, and I think that was his excuse to go and get the camper, because he really wouldn't have an excuse to go and get the camper if he still had his job and there's no need to go get the camper. So it just doesn't make sense to me. the camper, he made it important. He made that camper important when he ended up leaving to go get it. Because who the hell cares about a camper when you got a missing kid?
Over this?
Yes, over this, very much. Yeah. And because of that, I was like, well. So I got permission, and I said.
And because of that, he said, well, you got a missing kid. Did you have to stop everything you were doing and go get that fifth wheel right then and there? You got a missing kid. And he's like, well, if I can go, let me just go on and get out of here, It's getting a little hot in here. Right? It's getting a little hot in here. I need to breathe. I need to breathe. I need a 24-hour reprieve. I wonder if he went back there and just sat there in the bed and just like, OF, 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 You guys remember Stewie? Whoever watched Family Guy? You remember Stewie? And he in that one where he was like on narcotics? Was Chris Pratt Stewie? Come on, tell me. I bet you it was Stewie. I bet you. He doesn't look like a Stewie. He doesn't look like a Stewie. He doesn't look like a Stewie. But this is just not making sense. I'm going to replay it for you guys, so just stick around. I know I'm chopping it all up with my commentary and stuff like that, but it's hard not to. Like, I got so much to say about this clip. I don't even think it's a full minute. And I could literally talk right now. I bet you I could carry on an hour show right now on this one little sliver of a clip in this 3-hour interview.
I got permission. I asked law enforcement, said, hey, I need to go down, go get my fifth wheel, and I need to bring it home. Mm-hmm. Because right now, and they said, okay. So we told them what day we were going. And we went down there. We weren't even down there, 24 hours maybe. I think we were down there maybe 17 hours. Long enough to get down there. I finished packing everything up. And I'll say she didn't go.
I wanted to make sure I played it until you guys heard that, because at first, I know that's the way I was, Amy. At first, that's why I had to play it all the way through so you guys didn't do the same thing as me, because I heard that and I'm like, she went. I mean, I've got, look at that. I'm not lying. You see that crossed out thing? I'm like, they both went? And so I had to cross it out and I'm like, I need to play it all. So that's why I went ahead and played it all the way through. Because I got caught up on that too. I mean, I was like I was thinking I heard something I hadn't heard before. I'm like, Katie left too? Ooh, this is gonna, But no. I mean, it's still bad as it is. I mean, seriously, who? And I did look up that whole Yogi Bear campground whole thing, and it looks like you can't rent a site there without paying for a full month. It doesn't sound like it's like a regular pop your tent up and stay a couple nights type of place. It sounds like it's I think you can rent the cabins like that, but I don't think you can rent the lots like that. Unless there's one area for monthly, but I didn't see any kind of, you do like a membership? What? Does his work pay the site? Lake Girl? I don't know if they would pay the site directly. Usually in a situation like that, they give you an extra bonus for living expenses, if that makes sense. I can't remember the name of it. They actually have an actual name for it. And I don't know what the name of it is, but they give you like a little bit of per diem. There it is, per diem. Yep. Per diem. Mm-hmm. So they give you like a per diem, and that goes for your stuff. So most people, they'll stay in like a hotel. But you know what? If you want to get your per diem and save money, stipend. Somebody says stipend. Whatever it may be, whatever it is, that's kind of what it is of it. So he said when he was talking to him, he was adamant. I don't understand. That's why I said it must be more bougie to have, like, I guess camper to him sounds really ghetto, or something like that. Because he didn't seem to like the word camper. He was like, did you see how he corrected her on that? So he's like, I almost lost my job. And it's like I almost think that he's using that as an excuse, because if you think he almost lost his job, it takes away from the fact that he went down to pick up a camper or a fifth wheel during the middle of the search efforts. They couldn't go to the media to talk about their missing son, his son, as he says. And it doesn't sound, and then we find out that it sounds like Sebastian called him Mr. Chris. Not something you would equate to a man that calls Sebastian his son, That sounds so distant. Mr. Chris. Not Chris. Not Doodah or Daddy Two or I don't know. I mean, I call my stepdad, by his first name. But I don't think I've ever called him Mr. First Name. But I understand that it might have to do with his autism. I've got to remember that he has autism, and it's a pattern thing for them. So it might be that's the only way he can remember to call the teachers Miss or Mister. It might be something like the almost authoritarian. Yeah. The fifth wheel. I'm like, what's a fifth wheel, a camper? And I'm like, yeah, a camper can be a fifth wheel. Like, I had a camper in my backyard. It was a fifth wheel. I gave it to my husband. Don't tell me I never put a roof over that man's head. I did it twice. I made sure he had something to go. But he says it he had to go down and get the fifth wheel. We told them, you got to take the we out, because he did misspeak, because he clarified that and said that Katie didn't go. We never heard Katie went. That's why I was like, what? We? What? And he says that we told them what day we were going to leave. So I kind of am, now this could be wrong as well, but I'm assuming, which is not good. I don't think splitting hairs over this fact is really matters which day. It would have been more impactful for the point I was trying to make if it did in fact happen on the 27th, but I don't think it did. It doesn't sound like it. So I really do believe he made the request on the 27th. You got to remember, I don't think that they became like being side-eyed by law enforcement. I don't think they were being side-eyed by law enforcement at least for a couple days. 2-3 days tops. I would think that after like 3 days, law enforcement is going to be, I would hope that they got there a lot sooner than that. But, I'm not in their stuff, so I've got to try to give a degree of uncertainty here, because we're flying blind. So to have to think, it could have been by the end of the first day, it could have been by the end of the second day, it could have been it could have been the fifth day for all I know. It could have been truly the eighth day when they decided to hang up their hats on the searches out there. It could have very well been. For those that are coming in and want to know what we were talking about, I'm staying to a specific topic tonight, and it's related to the camper, because we're going through the timeline, and one of the questions I asked earlier, and I know not everybody can hit all of these lives, but one of the things that I hit earlier was the fact that I'm looking to find out what time, but this was based on me thinking that Chris left the very next day, and I don't think that's the truth, but my question was, it's alleged that Chris left his family home on the 27th to go back to get his camper. Does anybody know the time he left or the time he returned home after retrieving the camper? And so I happened to be on here earlier, and I read that post to the audience here on an earlier live. And then the next live, somebody said, I heard you're looking for this information. And I was retouching on it again for the for the second live today. And somebody says, oh, it was 17 hours. And I'm like, 17 hours? The place is only 3.5 hours away. What on earth could he possibly be doing for 17 hours? And and I'm like, I did not believe the person that was telling me this on this, but she went back and actually found the post. And so when I realized it was part of Smiley's interview with him where he said the 17 hours, I then started doing my research because I'm still literally in disbelief. I am literally in disbelief how in the world it would take 17 hours to go get a flippin' fifth wheel. I mean, the son of a gun ain't that big. And I'm telling you, I've been in a fifth wheel about this size, and I don't think it has ever taken me hours to pack it up. This is not something that takes, it's got a push out. But how filthy are you living in here that it literally takes you 5 hours to clean it? And he wasn't even cleaning it. He said pack. I don't see anything outside here. What do you need to pack? Now, if you're talking about like your sodas and your condiments and your stuff like that, give me a break. You get some boxes, put them on the floor, you take everything out, throw them in the boxes. Next thing you know, you're on the road. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. You push a button, this whole thing goes in. 17 hours. Like, I was thinking, I'm sorry, it just blows my mind because this whole time, we're 2 months in, and I heard, well, this is what I heard. I heard he left at the next day to go pick up his camper, and I've been really ticked off about that, and I remember Smiley talking to him about it, but I misunderstood what he said. And so I was thinking he said the next day, but he did not. He said, and I have to think that if he wouldn't ask permission from law enforcement to go down there to get the camper, I'd have to think that it was very close in proximity to the time. So I really truly believe he made the request on the 27th, probably left on the 28th, and was back on the 29th. If I had to put some money on it, that's what I bet happened. But still, that's literally in the meat and potatoes of an investigation for your who gives a crap about, I swear to God, if anybody in my family goes back to get a freaking camper when I'm missing, when I'm found, I'm smacking you. Okay? They're gonna be putting me in jail. Okay? So I hope somebody's got some damn bail money. Okay? I don't give a rat's ass about the camper. If I'm lost, come find me. Okay? We'll worry about the camper later. We'll worry about the camper later. But I'm telling you, when you find me, you better have my bail money in your back pocket. Because you're going to be crying and I'm going to jail. Don't go to camper. What the hell? No. So that's what I got out. There's other topics in here. I've got to be honest with you. I did take some notes and I skipped around, so I got to go back and listen to it. But this interview, I think one of the things that really kind of butthurts me a little bit is that this interview was done 24 days. Yeah, 24 days after Sebastian went missing. And when I heard his mother come on to this, we always try to listen. And I'll tell you guys a secret of mine, okay? And it's probably something that you guys already do without even thinking about it. But whenever I'm listening to an interview, one of the first things I'm listening to, like the first 2 or 3 minutes, I'm gauging why are the parents there, right? Why are the parents in front of that camera? Are they there for self-preservation purposes, or are they there for avocation purposes? That is literally the first thing that I always look at and listen to. And that's why it's always very important to me whenever I see, like when I tell you that it took 8 days for them to come and have the first one-on-one interview with the news crew, and that was the first time, and I say it just so happens to coincide when the case started taking a turn, when the case started looking more in line with foul play, and they pulled back on the searches. Remember when I told you that it's awfully funny that they now are coming forward to give those interviews? This is much of the same, because Smiley's World, and I don't know it because when I got into Smiley's World's interview, I came in a few minutes late because my mods were letting me know that they were coming on Smiley's World. So we were already a few minutes into the interview by the time I got there, and I missed, a good, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of that interview. And I didn't realize when Katie went in there just how pissed off and angry she was at social media. 24 days after her son has disappeared, she hasn't heard from him. She hasn't seen this boy. And she is angry at the world. She's not scared. She's not scared that she's never going to see her son again. She's not worried about him one bit. I don't even think she spit his name out of her mouth right away. And she's sitting here, basically stating that people are being accusatory. Literally within the first 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 49 seconds. She's saying 24 days, and they're worried about the horrible things that people are saying. These are my notes. So she's telling Smiley that the public is being so accusatory, and basically, how dare us even look at them? How dare us? We're so mean, right? And you don't want to know what she's going through. Mind you, she's basically screaming it. And she's angry. She's not worried, scared, frustrated. She's not worried about whether she's going to see her son again. You guys need to get over to Smiley's World and revisit that interview. You sure do. Because I'm telling you, I'm hearing some stuff. That's Smiley's World on YouTube. She's got an interview. I can't remember what the name of it, what the title of it is. I'll tell you in just 2 shakes. It's called Live at the Request of #Chris Proudfoot. All one word. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's going to be backwards anyways because this thing doesn't mirror like everything else. Which is cool. I'm fine with that. So for those that are just tuning in, I want you guys to hear this, because this right here is a statement from Chris Proudfoot related to the camper, related to why he went back and got the camper. And guys, I don't think that man lost his job. He's still working there. He's been working there. I don't think he lost his job. I don't think he was in jeopardy of losing his job back then. It doesn't make sense. Nobody becomes in jeopardy of losing their job when a child is missing. No company in their right mind would be that heartless and that mean. Just about every person has children. It's one thing you don't mess with. And it's the worst PR thing you could ever do. It's the worst PR thing you could ever do. So let's go back to the 42-minute mark, and we're going to listen to this. I don't want to go to 43. That's good. That's too far. Hold on, guys. Sorry, it's so hard to get it right where you need it. You know what I'm saying? That'll work.
Yeah.
These are for the people tuning in.
He loves it.
They're going to talk about they're going to talk a little bit about what time he arrived at the house on the 26th, the day that Sebastian Rogers was reported missing. And then they're going to turn around and talk about the trip back. This time, I'm not going to stop or do any commentary so you guys can get the full. I'm going to try anyways. I'm going to try. Guys, I think I can do it. I think I can. Okay? I'm going to try my hardest. It's hard not to cuss these people out. I got to tell you. I got to pray a lot. I pray a lot anyways, but I got to pray 10 times more. This case is, if anything more, God's getting a lot of prayers.
Did he like going to, did y'all ever take him to the Japanese places where they made that?
Shoguns where they cook in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, himachis, yeah.
Yeah.
He likes it, but he does
I went
it
too
at the
far
same
back.
time because it's so
coming
loud and clanky.
Yeah.
Here it is.
And they use a lot of the teriyaki style sauce.
Yeah.
When we get his, we kind of have to ask, like, hey, can y'all scoot some over? He doesn't like condiments that much. He really doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, what time did you get home on Monday? Do you remember?
I want to say it was, well, hold on, let's see here. 1 something, I think.
Yeah. And then did you have to go back up there and get your camper? I mean, is that what y'all had to go back and get that? Somebody had to drive
Yes.
it back? Or?
No. It's a fifth wheel. It's a fifth wheel.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I couldn't tell. Somebody was just.
No. You know, so there's a couple things that, because of this whole situation, I hope families never endure.
Right.
Without going into great details, I almost lost my job.
Over this?
Yes, over this, very much. Yeah. And because of that, I was like, well. So I got permission. And I say I got permission. I asked law enforcement, said, hey, I need to go down, go get my fifth wheel, and I need to bring it home. Because right now, you know, and they said, okay. So we told them what day we were going. And we went down there. We weren't even down there, I don't know, 24 hours maybe. I think we were down there maybe 17 hours. Long enough to get down there. I finished packing everything up. And I say she didn't go. I was down there long enough to pack everything up. I spent the night in my trailer, hooked up the next morning, and came home.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody listening in, the campground was only 3.5 hours away. So the camper. Oh, I'm sorry. Golly, I gotta be so mean. I mean the fifth wheel. Good gracious. If I can find it, I will put it up here. There we go. Good gracious. The fifth wheel. I guess the camper's not bougie enough. The camper's not bougie enough. It's a fifth wheel, okay? The fifth wheel. So he has to load. I'm telling you, there's no way that's going to take that much time to load that up. And I granted he's staying in there. He's probably got a lot of loose stuff. You don't know, shoes, stuff like that. If you got to go down there and pick up, nobody cares. You get the stuff secure. You pull out. Who's lollygagging? Who would be lollygagging? You got a missing kid. Who would go down there and care about the damn camper to begin with? It'd be like, okay, I'd call the thing and say, look, guys, I got a missing kid. Here's my credit card. Charge me for whatever you need to do. My kid's more important. Right? I don't know who the hell would be worrying about it. And this is the stupidity of it. And the asinization of it. Asinization of it, okay? I'm making up words here. Is the fact that they turned around and packed the damn thing up and went right back. I bet you they were still on the same 30-day lot rent. What you bet? He never really needed to go get that camper. I'm sorry, fifth wheel. I'm sorry. He's a stickler. He's a stick, all right. He needs one. So I don't know. I missed this. I missed the boat. I did not know. 17 flipping hours? There's no way I heard this. There's no way I heard 17 hours and didn't blow a gasket. Okay? There's no way. There's just no way. I missed this totally. I totally did not hear this. 17 hours? Still say he's hiding evidence. Oh, I do too. Well, see, this is the thing, is, with all the theories I came up with, it was him taking Sebastian back, but him being short on time to work. And I always thought he stashed Sebastian in the camper. This was with one of my theories. And then I started thinking maybe that was wild speculation. So I toned it back a bit. But that was when I thought he went to that camper the next day. And I'm like, there's a reason why he went to the camper. But it does sound like he went to the camper in close proximity to the time he came home from his job. Like within a day or two. So I always thought he ditched, and that's why I wanted to know if that camper had been searched with the dogs. Because if that child was in that camper, a cadaver dog would hit. And I don't think it was ever searched. I don't know. He did bring it back, but did they search it? They may have skipped it because it wasn't even there at the time that Sebastian disappeared. And you've got to remember, he's buddies with the law enforcement. And then there's still another statement that Nick Barris had said about how the parents would have came under, when the child wasn't found, the parents would have come under constant surveillance, at least for 24 or 48 hours. Did Chris know that with his sister or family member being in law enforcement? Would he have known that he would not have been surveilled if he went back at a specific time? At what point did he go back? We know he was there for 17 hours, but why did he need to stay overnight? He was only 3.5 hours away. Just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Especially if it was planned and he already told law enforcement about it. Seems like he would have gotten up early the next morning, went over there, been there by 10, a couple hours to pack up, at best 3. He's out of there by 2, 3. Hell, let's push him out of there at 5. He should have been home by 8:30, 9 o'clock. Never heard anybody having to go pack up a camper 3.5 hours away and not having enough time and having to stay the night. I've never heard that. Unless he is a hoarder, I don't see where that's possible. I mean, that's literally stripping that entire thing out. All the clothes, groceries, everything out of there. There's no way it would even take me 2 solid hours. I bet you within probably, I don't know, hour tops, I'd have that whole place clean from top to bottom. 2 hours tops, maybe. It might be bigger, in life than it is in picture. Remember, you heard it yourself. He asked law enforcement to leave and let him know what day he was going. This seems like a guy that gets up early. He doesn't seem like the guy that's sleeping in until noon. His story doesn't make sense. Mama T, I don't know. I think somebody early on said there is a camera going in or something like that. There's one around. I've heard that there's one around. I just don't know exactly the specific spot that it's in. Do social services ever get involved? Did social service? Yes, that's been a hot button item with this case, that there was a social service call. According to Chris, there were at least 2 incidences. One was a belt incident a few years ago. Another one, which Chris has not disclosed what it was about, other than Sebastian told his teachers something, and the teachers called into the Department of Children and Family Services. That's as much as we really have. But Seth did get an attorney, and he did get his CPS reports. However, those are confidential. He had to sign a confidentiality agreement, and he is unable to share those documents. All I can tell you is when he was on the Pascal show and he was considering talking about what was disclosed in those documents, his attorney cautioned him not to do that. But what he did say is that he now knows what happened inside that home. And when he said that, I can tell you it did not look good. So I don't know what Seth saw. All I can say is from my experience, the look on that man's face when he said that, it didn't look good. And it looked like there was more than the two incidences that were described. And I may be reading a lot into it, but I tell you, I trust my gut. And I saw his face on the Pascal show, and I can tell you it took Pascal was just, he was trying to get him to answer, and he wouldn't answer the question. But the way that man looked on his face when it was being asked, it made you feel like there is a lot more there than we even have a clue of. That's just how I feel. And that makes that saddens me. That saddens me. But these are the reasons why this is a very delicate situation with what law enforcement can and can't do, because you got, in the grand scheme of things, if we were to be frank about the case, you got two men that can have very heated behavior. And I think that you're looking at a Papa Bear. And I think that law enforcement is looking at this as he's a Papa Bear. And I think that they have to be very cautious with how they deal with Seth because he's a Papa Bear. And anybody that has a Papa Bear knows it. Once the bear is unleashed, it's not going back. It's not going back to a cub. You know what I'm saying? Once it's out there and it's been ignited, it's not good. So I have to think that they're not going to tell Seth a whole lot of details that would probably provide an emotional response, if that makes sense. So I can't imagine, like, he had a fight. He had to get an attorney to get these records. And I can only imagine that every time he looks at Chris or Katie, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to knock their I'm sure he's at that. Do I think he will do it? No, that's not what I'm implying here. But you know how we all have said, I'm going to KILLER, whatever, so it's just a word. It's just a feeling. It's just something we mumble out of our when we're angry. But I really do believe he would want to knock their block off, to be honest with you, if he sees them. He just kind of had that look. I don't know. He had a twinkle in his eyes, and it didn't look like a good twinkle. Okay, I'm just saying. I've seen looks like that before. But that's really all I had. The camper thing is interesting. Oh, wow, they dropped me down here. Thank you guys for all being here. Thank you. Let me go up here. I'm just going to go up a little bit and see if I can answer some of your questions. I understand him being angry. I'd be furious. And that's what I was telling somebody. I've been talking to so many people. I can't remember who I was talking to. But I'm like, I think Seth has kind of held himself together real well, because it was that whole picture of him and Chris, and Chris being in that personal space, and, him being out there searching for his son and literally having no help from, Katie or Chris, and then Chris being in this close of his personal space. And I tell everybody, even though there is no evidence of foul play or anything like that, I'm sure at this point Seth is feeling like something's going on. He wants to know what happened to his son. And he's got to be thinking that something happened inside that home. He handled himself pretty well, because I can tell you, if this was my family member and I was being approached by somebody that could have done something to my family member at my family member's vigil, that close, it'd have been a bad day. It'd have been a bad day for somebody. I don't know how Seth kept it together. I really don't. Because I think he showed more gonads than I even have. Because I don't know if I can keep my stuff together like that. I really don't. Then why haven't they arrested anyone then? It's evidence. And that's the problem. This is where and this also goes back to the fact that we haven't had any updates from law enforcement in over a month. The last time it was left, they've done no forensics. Paula, how important forensics are? No forensics of the car, no forensic of the home, no forensic of his bedroom, no forensic of the camper. No forensics have been done, to the best of my knowledge. None. How are you going to find a crime if you're not looking for a crime? So, I don't know. I really don't. Behavior from CP and KP for the very beginning has been very sketchy. Absolutely. It has absolutely been very sketchy. Did you hear Tony talk about Seth's anger management issues in the past scholarship? He's hot-headed. Anger management is, he's missing a freaking son. I don't know if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, but pick your favorite kid. I am joking about that because you're supposed to say they're all my favorite kids. Ha, 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 ha. But then I realized, maybe this is not the group for it. I don't know, right? I don't know. Maybe we got some silent ones back here. But, take your kid, though. Anger issues. Are you kidding me? I don't have children. But I tell you what, I love my grandbabies. I love my stepkids. Let somebody touch a head of hair on their head. I don't know. I don't know how good I would be doing under those stresses. I'm telling you that I've been in this house for almost 3 months waiting for my car to be fixed. Okay? I can tell you there have been some unpleasant days around here. I don't know how to explain it than that. Okay? I'm old enough now that I don't break my shit. But some days I wish I didn't think I had to say I'll have to replace that, right? I'll have to replace that. You can't break that, Betty, right? There's some days that I think I feel better if I just hear something shatter. Says spokesperson just released new information. Oh, Natasha, what new information was just released? Where did they release it at? We'll release it here if I can find it. Tell me where it's at. Where did it get released at? No, Seth knows what he's doing in order to figure out. I think so. I do. I think at this point now that things have slowed down for him, I think he's been able to analyze what he's been doing, because he's been going on go and just literally grasping at any help he can get, right? And we know that he hurt himself and he had to take a break. And I think that break, as much as he didn't want to take it, I think with it being the Easter week, I think it forced him to take a moment and reevaluate everything and really figure out what he needs. Or, I'm just assuming. I've never talked to Seth. I just want to let you know that I've never talked to Seth. It won't let me request a box. Oh, it's probably turned off. You know what? Let me hold on here. Let me see if I can turn. Okay, everybody else don't come up here. I don't really, just let her grab that. Go down there and try it again and see if you can come up here. Oh, I got a couple of people back here. There's Natasha. Hey, look.
Hi. Okay, so I was just in another creators live, and Tony, the spokesperson.
Hold on a second. Do you know a Carlos?
I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, Carlos. Try again.
So Tony just said he had new information that Sebastian was talking to KP's mom the night before he went missing, as well as there's now footage after midnight of Sebastian, but they're not stating where, when, they don't know anything else, but that's what he just stated And I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that is new
So
info.
going back to this, so he was seen after midnight.
Correct. So hence why they changed it to the 26th instead of the 25th.
Oh, after midnight. Okay. And what was the other part? Katie. So now let me ask. So Katie's mom talked to her?
No, so Sebastian was communicating with KP's mom the night before.
You mean CP's mom?
Katie's.
Katie's mom? That's what I was asking. Katie's mom.
Yes. That's what he said.
The one that harmed her own daughter.
Yeah, so this is coming from Tony's mouth. So I'm just letting you guys know. This is what he stated. He doesn't know. He won't state like what they were communicating about or anything like that. But that's all he said. Katie's mom.
Yeah, but people have been looking at her.
Mm-hmm. But that's all the information he is on Beaches Live. That's where I heard him speak about it. He said, This is new information.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming over here and letting me know. I do.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. God bless, hon.
You too.
Bye-bye. So, wow, you guys, you know what? We need to look at this, that this actually might be a good thing. Like, seriously, a good thing. So, hold on, let me see if I can get this off. Well, there we go. Okay, let me turn this off now. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get this off. There we go. All right, so that's kind of where we're at. And I don't know how to get it off this thing here, but we'll just roll with it. What did it say? They said the first 72 hours they thought it was a runaway, but that was a 180-degree change. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. So, guys, let me, I'm going to go ahead. I want to listen to this stuff. I don't know what's going on with this stuff right now, but it sounds like this might be promising because if he was seen after, but see, it's vague because he went missing between midnight and 6 a.m. But if he was seen after midnight, I'll have to reach out. I will find out. I will reach out and see what information is available and then let you guys know what we find out. So Chris threatened Seth. Yeah. Well, at some point he did. Yes, that is correct. He did. And in my opinion, no, actually just recently, in all fairness, just recently, he threatened Seth too on the call with the, but I was looking at that photo and I think Chris has threatened Seth a few times throughout this process. Because remember, it was first out at the search party that they had that day where Justin on TikTok, Chronicles of Olivia, a bunch of other creators came together and went out there and searched with the United Cajun Navy when they came in. What a hot mess that was. That was the day of the first threat because it was over, I think, the GoFundMe. The second threat was at the vigil. The third threat that I heard was the threat to Chloe and Seth in that recorded conversation on Heather's phone. So, in 2 months, Chris Proudfoot has threatened Seth multiple times. He is unhinged. But I'm interested because to me, Katie's mom is a problem for me. Katie's mom, I don't know how she's walking right now. From what I hear, she's a bad woman and she did terrible things. Now, I personally haven't seen it. I know I've seen some stuff come in, but I personally did not find it. And so I don't know how completely accurate it is. I believe it is accurate. I thought it said he was communicating with Kate's mom, not seeing Kate's mom, not seeing that it could have been Katie's mom Who's Kate's? What's the difference between Kate and Katie? Wouldn't they be the same thing? Chris is dangerous. He might be. You know what? I got to tell you, a lot of the people are starting. I noticed, and I started saying that on here, is I noticed that a lot of the polls are starting to change, and people are starting to side Katie more than Chris. Well, listen, I'm listening to a lot of the professionals like Chris McDonough that has done has been involved in over 300 homicide investigations, and he is the director at the Cold Case Foundation. He's basically saying that he's more concerned with the mom than he is with Chris. So, guys, we need to be listening to that too. You know, Peter Hyatt, he's another good one. I don't agree with him 100%, but it's because I don't agree that the Proudfoots put him outside. I agree with a lot of the stuff Peter says. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I love Peter. I think he comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge and stuff like that. There's just some things I don't agree with people 100% on. Is he excellent? Absolutely. Does it mean I'm right? Does it mean he's wrong? Absolutely not. I have no problem being wrong. You know, in my business, I want to be wrong as much as I can possibly be. It's just that it doesn't work out like that. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. I think I'm going to let you guys go because I really don't have very much more going on. He has a very plausible theory. I did hear it. I like it. I like how it's building. And you know, some of the stuff, this is what I know. I know that every single case we go into, we have the people that no matter what you do, if you have a horrible person that has done horrible things, it is just going to attract a really poor sector of our community that just thinks that I don't get it. Even if they have a video of the person doing the crime, they still will be adamant that there's no proof. From the people that are overly involved, I guess. So you got the people that protect the bad people, the other people that just want to be somewhere in the middle, and the people that are like, you know, gung-ho for the good guys and stuff like that. But you have all of these different cliques, and we all have to try to get along and make sense of it. So I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to stop researching and doing stuff on here, but I do hope the shenanigans kind of dies down. It sounds like today, with everything going on, it sounds like it was a pretty good day. I didn't see a whole lot of shenanigans, but honestly, I've been working all day. You know, I've been going through and listening to audios and interviews and trying to make heads or tails of all this stuff. Like right now, I'm literally exhausted. I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock and I haven't stopped since. I wish he was, Ainsley. I really do. But no, he hasn't been found. His parents, I feel, are lying. I feel like this is not, you know, I don't see this getting any better. This is the situation we're in. But the mom, his mom or her mom, whether it's Kate, she doesn't sound like she's good news. And I don't understand why she would, why she would have anything to do with her mom at this point. And two, why she would have her son talking to her mother. I just don't understand it. You know, why would you keep your kid off online if you're just going to let him talk to your mom? Like, I don't know. I got to hear what happened, you know. What's the update? Oh, bless mama. It's not really, we weren't really going over an update. We're actually having a discussion about the camper. I think now I'm going to start calling it a camper just to get under his craw because I know he wants it to be called a fifth wheel. It's a fifth wheel. It's a camper. Camper. It's a camper. Camper. It's a tent. It's something. But, I don't know if they checked it. But we were going over the camper stuff, because it took them 17 hours to go and pick up that RV, that camper, that fifth wheel, and bring it home, And I understand an RV has an engine, okay? I don't need to be schooled on these high-rise Cadillac automobile thingies that they call fifth wheels. It's a pull-behind box. That's what us women call it. It's a pull-behind box. I love it. I love it. So we're just going to be going over that. I want to explore that because I still want to get the time that he left and the time that he arrived back home. I don't know. He stayed there overnight, man. I don't like this. Like this whole thing around this RV, this camper, this fifth wheel is really eating at my craw. It really is eating at my craw. Top holler, toy holler, It's a bike with training wheels. Yay! But there's something with that because I know the camper, I was drawn to the camper early in the story, and I remember saying it over and over again on my YouTube channel. I'm like, there's something with this, and I kept thinking that they took, because I was trying to do the timeline with Chris, and it didn't leave Chris a whole lot of time to do a whole lot with this boy. So I thought he took the boy back to his camper, and that's why he went back the next day to pick it up. But I don't know, because they're saying that he didn't. It's not that they're saying he didn't. I misunderstood and thought he went back the next day. It sounds like he may have asked the next day if he could go, and it would have been the day after that. But he was gone for 17 hours. His camper was only 3.5 hours away. That does not math. So he was up to no good. We need to find out how much no good he was up to. That's a lot of time to fill up. That's a lot of time to fill up just to turn around and take that camper all the way back just a few days later. Doesn't make sense. All right, guys, that's my show. I love you. God bless. Don't be easy or sleazy. Get some rest. Talk to you later. Don't forget to be fearless. And quit being so damn angry. Okay, I'm done. I had fun with you guys.